Hello, fellow Hero Academia enthusiasts. Today, we kick off an exciting What If series, Deku Meets His Queen Part 1. And guess what? Starting today, we're bringing you daily My Hero Academia videos. So, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for a daily dose of heroism. We see our green-haired friend floating in a dark place. Izuku, where am I? He said as he looked around. Is this the afterlife? Is it limbo, hell, or heaven? Immune to illusions and mind control, acquired. Izuku, that voice? Is it the same one I heard when I was in my last moments? He said, feeling a little sad remembering that. I wish I didn't feel this way, but I do. He said, remembering some losses and his death. Feelings deactivated. Izuku, what? Confused, but then he felt nothing, as if he had no emotions. What's happening to me? I don't feel sad anymore. In fact, I don't feel anything. Who are you? I have no name, call me whatever you like, master. Izuku looked around the emotionless place, only finding complete darkness. Izuku, master? Giving you a name? Let's see. How about Jarvis? Or maybe Friday? He said without emotion. I prefer Jarvis, master. Izuku, alright, Jarvis. Izuku, Jarvis. Yes, master. Izuku, 2 questions. First, where are we? Well, we're on our way to a new world. Izuku, are we going to heaven? No, I don't mean that afterlife. We're going to a new world with magic and different races. Izuku, darn, I wanted to see God and Christ the King. And Jarvis, the second question is, why don't I have emotions? I don't feel anything. Master, you said, I wish I didn't feel this way, so I turned off your emotions so you wouldn't feel that way, master. Izuku, Jarvis, can you please re-enable my emotions? First, master, why? You will start feeling bad again. Izuku, yes, but I won't feel anything, no sadness, anger, or happiness. That's why I want my emotions back. I want to feel those emotions again. I want my emotions. I know I feel bad now, but it doesn't mean I'll be like this forever because I know my friends and my mom wouldn't want to see me like this. So, can you please re-enable my emotions? He said coldly. Master, I understand that, but I can't re-enable your emotions. Izuku, what? Are you telling me I'll be cold and emotionless? In other words, I'll be a robot in human form? He said, moving around, but his face remained neutral. Master, calm down. I can't re-enable it, but you can regain it. Izuku, explain, Jarvis. Master, when you arrive in the new world, you can regain your emotions. You'll have to recover them, but I can't guarantee you'll get them all back. You may regain some like happiness, anger, excitement, and maybe love, but not all of them. It will be a partial recovery. Izuku, are you saying I have to regain my emotions? Yes. Izuku, honestly, if that's the case, I only care about regaining my emotions, or at least the basic ones. I want to feel something again, get excited, and so on, because I think I'll be excited and happy to be in a new world. I'm sorry, master. Izuku, don't apologize, it's not your fault. It's my fault for saying that. But as you said, I can recover them, so I'm not worried. Well, at least I understand that it's the basic ones, because I do feel concern, something is better than nothing. He said with a bored and emotionless face. Izuku, when I get to that world, I'll focus on regaining my other emotions. I hope they're easy to recover. While I try to figure out where I am and look around to find a nearby village and survive. If anyone is in danger, I won't hesitate to save them or do something. Then he saw a light. We have arrived. Izuku, here we go. He closed his eyes. Izuku slowly opened his eyes and noticed that he was in a somewhat strange place and noticed that his body had changed. Izuku, I am a? We see Izuku looking at himself, he was confused. Izuku, am I a booger? He said while looking at his body. No, master, you are a type of slime. Izuku, slime? Yes, master. Izuku, well, I always thought slimes were small and round or something like that. He said with a neutral face as he remembered some videos he watched when he was a child. Master, you are small. Izuku. Depressing aura. I didn't want to stay small, why me? And master, you're not round or spherical because you're a humanoid slime. Izuku, humanoid what? He said very confused. Humanoid, Master, you're a slime in human form in simple terms, but that race is hard to find, and you might be the last one, Master. Izuku, wow. He said while looking at his green hands, which looked like jelly. I'm like a walking blob, Jarvis, maybe I can shapeshift? No. Izuku, well. But you can use the ability of having. Izuku, what does that ability do, Jarvis? This ability allows you to have the abilities of any enemy you fight, sir, you just need to touch it, and you can keep it, it's like copying but it stays in your gallery. Izuku, that ability is awesome, although there will be enemies that are too dangerous that I can't even approach. I'll have to come up with some strategies and plans. He thought and started to mumble. And sir, you're not the only one sent to this world. Izuku, really? Yes, although they call themselves travelers. Izuku, so am I a traveler? No, because you were reincarnated, and they are sent here. Izuku, I see. Are there people who were also reincarnated, like me? I don't know, Master, maybe you're the only one. Izuku, alright, we'll talk about that later. He said and started to walk. Izuku looked around. Izuku, we're in a forest. He said and noticed something. Maybe there's a village nearby. Probably, Master. Izuku, yeah, that helps. He said but noticed something. What's wrong, Master? Izuku, I realized I can't go. I'm not human anymore, I'm a slime. A humanoid one. Master, if that worries you, you can change your appearance. Izuku, wait. What? Yes, but you have to have the body I want, and your body will change, but it takes some time. Izuku, how much time? Well, that depends on your mana, Master, with what you have, you can last 3 hours. Izuku went blank. Izuku, 3 hours? That's not much. I don't have much mana, right? That's right, Master, but don't worry, it will increase when you fight, gain experience, and your mana will grow. Izuku, so, it all comes down to training. Yes, Master, exactly. Izuku, that sounds good to me. As he walked, he stepped on a plant, but he noticed that he went through it. Izuku was now a blob, but he noticed how the plant dissolved, and then he heard Jarvis' voice. Medicinal plant obtained. Izuku, what just happened? It has medicine whenever you want to use it. Izuku, that's helpful. Do you want to multiply your acquired item? Choose yes or no. Izuku, what's going on? Yes or no. Izuku. Yes? Your item has been multiplied, now you have more than 100 medicinal plants. Izuku. And where is it? It's stored inside you, just say what you want, and the object will appear, Master. Izuku, first, that sounded really weird, and second, that's amazing, it will be very useful later. What will you do now, Master? Izuku, I'm going to explore the area, and when I see a human village, I'll change my appearance. I only have 3 hours, right? Yes, Master, that's correct. Izuku, and how long does it take to use it again, Jarvis? It will take about 7 hours to have enough mana to use the ability again, but later on, you will be able to use it more freely. Izuku, sounds good. I'll also need to regain my emotions and train and fight to have more mana, although I'll only fight when necessary. It's not a video game, even though it looks like one. He said as he looked around. Then, Izuku felt danger, jumped, and saw a snake that tried to eat him. Izuku, that was close. He said, landing on a tree. I jumped high. He said, looking at how high he had jumped. That was without Ofa, what would it be like if I used it? He said, and the snake looked at him and attacked again. When the snake was close to him, Izuku activated Ofa and with his fingers, he released a burst of air, cutting the snake in half. Izuku, okay, that was cool and gross. He said as he looked at the snake split in half. Darn, I forgot to touch it to get its ability. Master, you can still touch it, take advantage while its body is not decomposed. Izuku blinked several times and looked at the snake split in half, so he quickly touched it. Izuku. He didn't say anything and touched the snake with a cheeky expression. When he did that, he felt a tingling sensation throughout his body and saw a list of his new abilities, including poison, sight, better mobility, and more. Izuku, some of these are useful, and some I don't need, but it's good to have more than less. He said neutrally. Then he felt a crowd gathering behind him, and when he turned around, he noticed a pack of wolves. Izuku looked at the wolves with a neutral face, thinking about how to protect himself. But one of them spoke. Wolf leader, you, slime. He said seriously. Izuku, well, it's surprising that you can talk. I thought you couldn't. He said calmly. I need to get used to things like this, even though I've seen more surprising things. Wolf leader, quiet, just don't resist. He said, and Izuku was surrounded. You are our prey. Izuku, if you want to eat me, just so you know, I probably don't taste like gum. He said jokingly. Wolf leader, I don't know what gum is, but you're a humanoid slime, and that's very rare to see. So why not hunt him? He said seriously. Afterward, we'll go to the goblin village. Izuku was about to speak, but the wolves launched themselves at him to attack. Izuku managed to dodge them, but he didn't notice that the leader had appeared beside him and gave him a powerful blow, sending Izuku flying through some trees. Now we see Izuku lying down. Izuku, I don't feel any pain, even though I received the blow and went through some trees. Am I immune to physical damage? He thought while looking at the injured part, which was healing. Izuku quickly stood up and noticed that some wolves were running toward him. Izuku, in a way, I don't want to hurt them, but maybe I don't have a choice. He said, dodging the wolves' attacks. But then he remembered something. Or maybe I have to take down their leader, as Aizawa-sensei said. To defeat many, sometimes you don't need to fight them all, just defeat the leader, and it's over. I hope this isn't an exception. He thought and looked at the wolf from earlier. The one who talked to me earlier and gave me the blow must be the leader. Some wolves were about to attack him, but Izuku moved at surprising speed and appeared beside the leader. Izuku, sorry for this. He said, turning his hand into a human one, delivering a powerful blow that pierced him, killing him instantly. Abilities acquired, imitation of terrible wolves, supreme sense of smell, communication, thinking, and threats, acquired. Izuku looked at his bloodstained hand while hearing about his new abilities. Izuku, that's gross. He said, turning his hand back to normal. I think I'll use these abilities from time to time. Izuku noticed that the other wolves backed away a bit. Izuku, I think I have to threaten them to make them leave. I don't want to kill more. Izuku, if you don't want to end up like your leader, go away and surrender, or die. He said coldly, making the wolves feel fear and admiration. When he said that, the wolves didn't leave, they stayed there, looking at Izuku. Izuku, why aren't they going? Didn't they understand me? Then he had an idea, he concentrated, and his body began to glow. Slowly, his body changed, and when the glow faded, he had transformed into a wolf, specifically into their leader, surprising the other wolves. Izuku, it's amazing, though it's a shame it only lasts for 3 hours. He thought while looking at his new body. Master, your mana has increased a bit. Izuku, really? He whispered so the wolves wouldn't hear. It must be from when I killed the snake and the wolf leader. Yes, now you can have 1 hour more. Izuku, that's incredible. He thought with a neutral expression for the wolves, who looked at him with admiration. Izuku, now like this. Using the threat ability. Izuku, go away and surrender or die. He said, and each word sent a gust of air, but he noticed that the wolves were getting closer. Why aren't they leaving? I don't want to kill them. Izuku stopped using that ability, and when he did, the wolves looked at Izuku for a moment and then bowed to him. Izuku, huh? He said, confused, returning to his original form, but feeling a bit dizzy. That ability does drain my mana, even if it's only for a moment. I'll have to improve that and get used to it. Then, one wolf spoke, having a star on its head. Star Wolf, what's your name? He said while bowing. Izuku, huh? Star Wolf, we want to know the name of our new leader, if it's okay to know. He said respectfully. Izuku was blank, new leader? Me, as the leader? Izuku, well, my name is Izuku. When he said that, Izuku's body briefly glowed, which confused him, but the wolves were excited to know his name. Star Wolf, Izuku-sama, a worthy name for you, I like that name. Wolf 1, Izuku-sama. Wolf 3, Izuku-sama. Wolf 5, Izuku-sama. They began to say his name with respect and admiration. Izuku, there's no need for sama. And why am I your leader? Star Wolf, it's because you defeated the old leader, whoever defeats the leader becomes the leader automatically. Izuku, I see. Star Wolf, and no. Izuku, huh? Star Wolf, we will still call you Izuku-sama. Izuku looked at them with a cold expression. Star Wolf, I mean, if it's okay, of course. Nervous. Izuku, why did he get scared? Maybe it's because of my expression? I hate not having emotions. He thought with a depressed aura. Calm down, they can call me that if they want. It'll be pointless to keep insisting that they don't. Star Wolf, it's an honor, thank you, Izuku-sama. He said happily, wagging his tail like the rest of the wolves. Izuku, why are they so happy? I just let them call me by my name. He thought comically. Izuku, now, what's your name? Star Wolf? Izuku, your name? Tell me your name, you must have one, right? Star Wolf, no, I don't have a name, Izuku-sama. Izuku, huh? You don't have a name? And the others don't either? Star Wolf, no, I don't have a name, like the rest. Monsters don't have names, Izuku-sama. Izuku, what? It's unfair that you don't have names. It's easier to call you with a name, isn't it? He said while looking at the wolves. Izuku, it's decided. Star Wolf, Izuku-sama? Izuku, I'll give you all names, how about that? If you don't want to, it's okay. He was interrupted because all the wolves started howling. Are they excited because I'm going to give them names? Star Wolf, are you sure about this, Izuku-sama? Izuku, of course, everyone deserves a name, or at least one. Star Wolf, this is incredible, Izuku-sama. Izuku, but it's just a name, right? Izuku, well, I'll call you. Let me think. He said while thinking of a name. Ranga, how about that? Do you like it? Izuku watched as Star Wolf, now named Ranga, briefly glowed and got excited. Ranga, thank you, Izuku-sama, thank you very much. Izuku, it's nothing. He said neutrally. As I said, why are they so excited about just a name? He thought comically. Izuku, I feel like things are going to be more interesting from now on. New adventures will begin from here. He thought as the wolves howled with happiness. We see Izuku looking at the wolves. Izuku, well, we need to name them. Couldn't finish because he started feeling dizzy. Ranga, Izuku-sama, are you okay? He said, worried about his leader. Izuku, what's happening to me? He said weakly and started melting, resembling a puddle. Wolves/Ranga, Izuku-sama. Master, he's running out of magical energy when he named all the wolves. Izuku, all? I only named one, and it's Ranga. He thought, too weak and started to see black. I can't see anyone, I hear blurry. Recovery time, 2 days. Izuku, 2 days? He said and fell unconscious. The wolves took Izuku to a better place, a more comfortable place. Ranga, I hope he recovers quickly, Izuku-sama. He said, worried. -2 days later. The 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. The wolves stood guard to prevent anyone from touching or approaching Izuku. Now we see Izuku near a waterfall, sitting on a rock while surrounded by them to protect him. Suddenly, Izuku started to move. Izuku, phew, I can finally move. He said, although he didn't seem like it. He noticed the wolves but they looked different. Hello? Wolves/Ranga, Izuku-sama. They said, happy and wagging their tails at an astonishing speed, creating a small storm. Izuku felt the storm and grabbed onto the rock to avoid being blown away. The wolves saw this and stopped wagging their tails. Izuku, that was amazing. He said while getting back on the rock. But do I know you? How do you know my name? Ranga, Izuku-sama, don't you remember us anymore? He said, a little sad. Izuku? He was confused but then noticed the star. Ranga? Is that you? Ranga, yes, it's me, Izuku-sama. He said, wagging his tail again, creating a small storm. Izuku, stop. He said, grabbing the rock again to avoid being blown away. Ranga, I'm sorry, Izuku-sama. Izuku, sighs, don't worry, but why are you different? Ranga, well, when you gave me a name, Izuku-sama, the monsters rank up and evolve more than you can imagine. Izuku, really? All because of a name? But I only named you, why did the others change too? Ranga, when you named me, it was for everyone. My name represents the whole clan. Izuku, you share a name? Ranga, in short, Izuku-sama. Izuku, that makes sense when I think about it. I gave a name to all the wolves at once. I should have known that beforehand, at least to prepare. What's wrong, Izuku-sama? Izuku, Nothing. He said, snapping out of his thoughts and returning to reality. One question, though. He said, and Ranga looked at Izuku. Is there a village nearby? Ranga, yes, Izuku-sama. Izuku, really? Ranga, yes, it's the village of the goblins. Izuku, goblins? I thought it was a human village, but that's better than nothing. Although, should we go there? He thought and said. Have you been there before, by any chance? Ranga, yes, to attack and kill several of them. He said as if it were nothing. Izuku, well. Wait, what? Attack, kill? Ranga, is something wrong? Izuku, well, of course, everything's wrong. Ranga, then I apologize for our actions, Izuku-sama. Izuku, let's go to that village to apologize. I don't want any trouble. He said, and they nodded. Plus, it would be good to have more allies than enemies. I imagine being at peace with them, and bam, they attack me. I still don't know if they're good at fighting or not, but it wouldn't be good. The best option is to go and make amends. Ranga, that sounds good, Izuku-sama. Izuku, okay, how long until we get there? Ranga, it will take a few hours. Izuku, well, we'll start going tomorrow, so rest. He said, and they nodded. I'm starting to understand a bit of what it means to be a leader. One day later. We see Izuku riding on Ranga, followed by the other wolves as they headed towards the goblin village. Izuku, I hope there won't be any problems, although I think there will be. He thought comically. Ranga, we're almost there. Izuku, understood. He said and saw the village. Stop. He said, and they all stopped. From here on out, be on guard. Even though we're here to apologize, it doesn't mean they won't attack us. So, be vigilant and don't kill. Only do so when it's a matter of life and death, nothing more. Do you understand? He said coldly, and they all nodded. He then changed his form into a human, to be specific, his original form, with only a few red spikes and a red eye. I missed this. He thought while stretching, and the wolves looked at him, still surprised. They needed to get used to it. Ranga, wow, Izuku-sama, is it really you? Izuku, of course, it's me. I just changed my form like last time, so they don't know I'm a humanoid slime. I don't want them to be scared, because my species is hard to come by, and I don't want any trouble. Ranga, I understand, but you look amazing, Izuku-sama. Izuku, I know. He said coldly. Let's go. They continued, and when they got closer to the village, they noticed that all the goblins were preparing to fight them. Izuku, they must have seen us coming. Well, with the mana I have, I can maintain this form for 4 hours, so I'm not too worried about that. Ranga, Izuku-sama. He said, raising his guard. Izuku, calm down, Ranga. He said, patting him to calm him down. Izuku looked at the goblins and noticed traps scattered around, but he also noticed something interesting. Izuku, a slime? We see Izuku looking at the slime. Rimuru, why is he looking at me so much? Does he think a slime can do anything with some goblins? But also, what can a human do with terrible wolves? He thought and looked at the frightened goblins. Old goblin, Rimuru-sama. He said, scared. Those wolves got names. He said, and Rimuru got confused. Rimuru, names? And so what? He asked, and when he was about to answer, Izuku approached them, which alerted everyone. Hey you. He said, and Izuku was still walking towards them with a cold look. Stop. Izuku stopped in front of all the goblins while they aimed their bows and spears. Ranga, Izuku-sama. He said, worried and getting ready just in case. Izuku, don't worry, calm down. He said calmly. Ranga nodded, but he still had his guard up like the other wolves. Rimuru, Izuku? So that's his name. She thought and said. Step back, we don't want to fight, but if you want to, we won't have another choice. She was interrupted. Izuku, but we don't want to fight either. He said with a cheeky face. Goblin/Rimuru, huh? Izuku, we just came to apologize for what they did. He said comically while looking at the wolves with their heads down. To make amends, of course, if you want to. He said calmly. Ranga, right, sorry for what we did. He said, bowing his head like the other wolves. The goblins looked at each other, and Rimuru was surprised because she expected something else. Rimuru, and how do we know you're not lying? She asked, a bit unsure. Izuku, well, I don't know. he said, and they all had a sweat drop. We just want to apologize because we don't want more problems and want to have more peace. Rimuru sighed. Rimuru, all right, we'll believe you. She said and thought. This way, there won't be any more deaths or a fight. Thankfully, there were no problems. I like this guy, even though that look of his is intimidating but at the same time calm. Well, a bit. The goblins hesitated, but if Rimuru said it was okay, then it was okay for them. 2 hours later. We see Izuku sitting on what looked like a throne, but it was just a comfortable chair, and Rimuru was on a small rock. Izuku, I have 2 more hours with this body, although I'll see if I can exceed that time limit. I have to last longer and try to increase my mana. That could be an option, Master. Izuku snapped out of it and looked at everyone. The goblins and wolves seemed a bit scared on the goblins' part and curious on the wolves' part. Rimuru, Izuku, right? The little slime said. Izuku, huh? Rimuru, I was wondering, what's a human doing with the terrible wolves? Izuku, and what's a slime doing with some goblins? Slime, well, let's say I ran into them. He said, and thought. More like they found me. He thought comically. And they said I needed help because the terrible wolves were attacking and killing the goblins in this village. He said, a bit serious. Izuku, oh, that makes sense. So, I apologize again for what they did. Ranga, yes, sorry. He said, bowing his head like the other wolves. Rimuru, don't worry, that's all in the past. Izuku, and to your question. He said, and the slime looked at him. I was walking peacefully through the forest when they appeared, attacked me, and one thing led to another. I ended up killing their leader, and now I guess I'm their leader. He said calmly. Rimuru had a sweat drop. Rimuru, acts as if it's nothing. He comically thought. Great sage, can you analyze it? No, I can't. There's something preventing me from analyzing it. Rimuru, you can't? I'll have to be careful with him, even if it seems like he won't do anything. But I still shouldn't let my guard down. Izuku, what are the goblins called? Rimuru, huh? Izuku, I said, what are they called, and what's your name? Rimuru, well, I'm called Rimuru Tempest, and now that I think about it, I haven't asked them for their names. He said, and Izuku had a sweat drop. Now I feel a little embarrassed. He said and looked at the goblins. Izuku's POV. After that, Rimuru asked the goblins for their names, but it turned out they didn't have names either. Rimuru said, that's unacceptable, everything is easier with a name. He decided to give each goblin a name, and they got just as excited as the wolves did when I gave them names. Although I noticed Rimuru didn't know why they were so excited. End of Izuku's POV. Izuku, Rimuru. He said, getting his attention. Before you start giving them names, be careful with the magicules. Rimuru, magicules? Magicules, use it to name. If you use more magicules, the individual will be stronger but will use up their strength. Rimuru, oh, I understand. It's good to know. I would have run out of strength if I didn't know that. He thought with joy. Thanks for the warning, Izuku. Izuku, you're welcome. It went as in the anime with the naming, but only with the goblins, obviously. Rimuru, that was the last name, but I don't think I used up too many magicules, although I feel a bit dizzy but not too much. He thought and started to melt, alarming everyone. Izuku, she's going through the same thing as me, but she didn't use as much. I calculate she should recover in 1 or 2 days. Ranga, she's going through the same thing as Izuku-sama. Goblins, Rimuru-sama. Recovery time, 2 days. Rimuru, well, 2 days isn't so bad. He said and started to sleep. Izuku, relax. He said, trying to calm the goblins. She just needs to rest, she should be fine tomorrow or the day after. So, you'll take care of her. The goblins nodded while the wolves looked at this with admiration and respect. Wolves/Ranga, Izuku-sama, he's amazing, taking care of everyone as always. 1 day later. We see Izuku tired and out of breath. No dirty thoughts. Izuku, I'm very tired, but I've managed to maintain this form for a whole day, but I feel very dizzy and tired, and my vision is blurry. The wolves watched this with concern, and the goblins were a bit worried too. They had bonded with Izuku because on the day it happened, he helped find the things Rimuru needed, and he even helped build a house for Rimuru, with the help of the wolves and goblins. They were grateful to Izuku for what he did for Rimuru because for them, Rimuru was their leader, and Izuku was taking care of her. Elder Goblin, Izuku-sama, are you okay? He said with concern. Izuku, why yes, I'm fine, I just need to rest a bit. He said weakly. I need to get stronger, I never thought it would be this tough, but it means I have more mana when 4 hours pass. I felt a strong dizziness, and I could barely react, but I managed to hold on, and now I'm like this. The goblins also call me Izuku-sama now, but I'm used to it. They've changed just like the wolves, and the old one seems like a character from JoJo's. Ranga, are you sure, Izuku-sama? Izuku, don't worry. He said, patting Ranga. But then, Izuku fell to his knees and had trouble breathing. Everyone, Izuku-sama. Izuku, it's hard to breathe. Master, you're going to pass out again from overexertion. Izuku, have I improved my mana at least? Yes, and a lot, Master. When you wake up, you should be able to last a whole day, maybe more. Izuku, then it was worth it. He thought and fell unconscious, returning to his original form, surprising all the goblins who saw him as a humanoid slime. One day later. We see Izuku waking up slowly. Izuku, where am I? He said weakly and looked around. He was in a house and looked to the side, noticing Rimuru still sleeping. Still? How long did I sleep? Then a goblin girl entered. Goblin girl, oh, Izuku-sama, you're awake. She said happily and hugged him, putting her face between her breasts. Izuku, if I had emotions, I'd probably faint, but honestly, this feels good. It's comfortable. He thought while nestled between her breasts, but she quickly let go and started calling the others that he had just woken up. Then Izuku saw the slime starting to move. Rimuru, finally, I can move now. Izuku, oh, good morning. Or good afternoon. Rimuru looked at him for a second but was surprised. Izuku, yes, I'm Izuku. Rimuru, Izuku? Is it really you? You're like me. But in humanoid form? Izuku, yes, I'm a humanoid slime. Humanoid slime, nearly extinct species, maybe the last of your kind. Rimuru, oh, that's interesting and sad to be the only one. She thought sadly for Izuku. Then someone went through the wall, and it was Ranga, followed by Rimuru. Izuku and Rimuru, what the heck? Izuku, Ranga, you didn't have to do that. Ranga, I'm sorry, Izuku-sama, but I couldn't contain my excitement that you woke up. Izuku, it wasn't that long, I think it was just a day. Ranga, it felt like a long time to me, Izuku-sama. He said, and Izuku noticed that Ranga started wagging his tail, so he quickly grabbed Rimuru and held on. Rimuru was confused but was surprised when Ranga created a small storm, blowing off the roof, but then he realized what he had done and stopped. Sorry. Izuku, don't worry. He said and put Rimuru back where she was. Rimuru, thank you, Izuku. She said relieved not to be blown away. Izuku, you're welcome. A few minutes later. We see Izuku and Rimuru jumping up in the sky, happy and celebrating their recovery. Rimuru was surprised that everything was different, but they explained about the ranks and evolution of monsters when they receive a name. Now, Rimuru understood why they were so excited about the names. Now we see Izuku sitting in his chair, and Rimuru on the same rock. Izuku, I already love this chair, he thought with a cheeky face. I gathered you to discuss a few rules. He said. Rimuru looked at this for a moment and then back at everyone. They were confused. There are only 2 rules. First, there will be no discrimination or superiority between you or other races, and second, it's forbidden to fight among yourselves. Just get along, that's all. He said calmly. Although, now that I think about it, it was more like 3. I guess, he thought comically. Kopta, Izuku-sama. A goblin said. Rimuru, Izuku-sama? What did I miss? Kopta, can I ask a question? Izuku, of course, I'd be happy to answer. Kopta, well, what about Rule 1, discrimination and superiority? Izuku, oh, that? I don't want you to be arrogant or think you're better than other races because of your rank. Be equals, you can be stronger than them or some of them, but that doesn't mean you can treat them however you want. Treat them well if they treat you well. Kopta, thank you for clarifying, we understand now. He said happily, like the others. Rimuru, Izuku thought the same as me, though, he thought and said. I want to add one more rule. He said, and everyone looked at him. This will make it 3 rules in total, and it's that you will not harm or kill any humans, that's it. Izuku, but what if they attack us? Are we not going to defend ourselves? I mean, I support not hurting or killing, but are we just going to let them attack us? He whispered to Rimuru. Rimuru, don't worry, that won't happen. I know we just met, but trust me. Izuku, sighs alright, I trust you. He said calmly. Rimuru, thank you. Rimuru, and I will leave the village in Reber's care. Reber, really? Rimuru-sama? It will be an honor. She said, tears starting to well up. Rimuru got too emotional. Izuku, but he gave her the position so she wouldn't have to do more work, he thought comically. Ranga, Izuku-sama. Izuku, yes? Ranga, we found what appears to be a village or town of dwarves. Izuku and Rimuru, dwarves? The ones who always make legendary weapons and those incredible things? I want to meet them. They said, but Izuku had a serious expression. Izuku, well, we'll go immediately. I want to meet them. Rimuru, excuse me. Izuku, huh? Rimuru, see, can I come with you? She said a bit timidly. Izuku, oh, sure, the more, the merrier. Rimuru, again, thank you. A few minutes passed, and we see Rimuru and Izuku riding on Ranga. Izuku, be careful not to fall. Rimuru, don't worry, I'll be fine. Izuku, all right. He said and noticed that there were also wolves, being ridden by goblins who would accompany them. As I thought, it's getting more interesting. He said with a smile. We see Izuku, Rimuru, and the others heading towards the city as Kopta suggested. Izuku, it'll be a somewhat long journey, but at least. He thought and glanced at Kopta. He's been to that city before, at least I have a guide. He said and changed into a human form. I can last longer, but I have to go further. Rimuru is on top of Izuku, holding onto him. Rimuru, our Ranga, we're not in a hurry. She said, and Ranga accelerated like the other wolves. Why are you going faster? She said, holding onto Izuku even tighter. Izuku, if you want, I can do this to make you more comfortable. He said, grabbing Rimuru, hugging her, slightly altering her form. Rimuru, it's comfortable. She thought and held on tighter. Izuku, are you comfortable? He asked, still with his eyes closed as he enjoyed the breeze. Rimuru, why yes, but we're not going to fall, right? Izuku, don't worry, I'm holding on. He said calmly, still keeping his eyes closed. Rimuru, it's okay. A few hours later. We see that it's starting to get dark, and everyone is near a river to spend the night. Izuku is sitting and looking at the river. Rimuru, Izuku-sama. Izuku, yes? Rimuru, will arrive in a few days. Izuku, wow, really? That's incredible. He said with a neutral face. It's almost time, I can't wait to meet those dwarves. Rimuru, I'm glad it's good news. Now I'll get back to my business. He said and approached the others. Izuku, this is interesting, new friends and new adventures, I couldn't ask for more. Mother, I hope you're well. He thought and then noticed something. Ranga. He said, and Ranga looked at him. Can you come here for a moment, please? Ranga, of course, Izuku-sama, it will be an honor. He said and approached them while the others watched. Rimuru, what are they going to do? Now we see Izuku and Ranga a bit far away so no one can hear them. Izuku, Ranga, do you hate me? He asked, and Ranga looked confused. I mean, even a little? Are you seeking revenge against me? Because the previous leader and you seemed like family. Were you brothers? Was he your father? Ranga looked at that for a moment. Ranga, he was my father. Izuku, I'm sorry for what I did. Ranga, no, don't worry, Izuku-sama. Izuku, and have you thought about seeking revenge against me? Ranga looked at the river for a moment. Ranga, honestly, I have thought about it. He said, and Izuku had a neutral expression. But I don't care about that, you didn't kill us, you showed mercy, gave us names, and take care of us. He said, and Izuku looked surprised, even though his face didn't show it. Izuku, I'm glad to hear that, Ranga, that's it. Now go rest, you deserve it. Ranga, of course, Izuku-sama. He said and went to rest. Izuku looked at Ranga, and then Rimuru arrived. Rimuru, it seems you had a talk. Izuku, yes. He said calmly and noticed that it had gotten dark. Aren't you going to sleep? Rimuru, no, slimes don't need to sleep, and you? Izuku, I'm also a kind of slime, which means even less. He said and looked at the sky. Rimuru, I see. She said and started to look at the sky too. The night is beautiful. She said, looking at the stars. Izuku, and very much so. He said with his usual expression, and then a tear escaped, noticed by Rimuru. Rimuru, are you okay? She said, a little concerned. Izuku, no, I'm fine, just remembered something. He said as he wiped away the tear. I'm okay. Rimuru, whatever you say, but if you need anything, let me know, we're friends, right? Izuku, of course, we're friends. Rimuru, he, and Izuku, huh? What's up? Rimuru, can I be in your head? She said a bit shyly. It seems comfortable. Izuku, oh, sure, I have no problem with that. He said and quickly jumped, and Rimuru was on his head. Size, are you comfortable? Rimuru, it's just like I imagined, it's very comfortable, and this hair is so soft. She thought as she snuggled in. Izuku, I'll take that as a yes. So the night passed, Izuku gazing at the stars while Rimuru was on his head. The next day. Izuku, it's already morning. He thought and noticed that Rimuru was asleep. Slimes don't need to sleep, huh? It really is comfortable. He thought with doubt. Rimuru. He said to wake her up, succeeding. Rimuru, is it morning already? Izuku, yes, let's wake up the others. Rimuru, hi, and Izuku. Izuku, yes? Rimuru, from now on, can I sleep on top of you? It helps me sleep well. She said timidly. For the first time in this world, I sleep well. Izuku, sure, why not? Rimuru, thank you. A few minutes later. Now we see everyone continuing on their way, passing through mountains, forests, and more. That's how the day went by, and now we see the others cooking while Izuku stared at the fire. Rimuru, finally, will arrive tomorrow. Izuku and Rimuru, really? Rimuru, of course, Kopta said we're close. Kopta, yes, calculating, will arrive in the afternoon. Izuku, that makes me very happy. Rimuru, and what's that city like? Rimuru, they say that city is open to all races, including dwarves, humans, goblins, elves, and more. Izuku, wow, that's surprising. Wait, elves? He thought and imagined something that made Izuku blush slightly but still maintaining his usual expression. Elves. He whispered, but Rimuru heard it. Rimuru, interested in elves? You pervert. She said a bit annoyed but then calmed down. Is it okay for creatures like us to enter? Izuku, good point. Rimuru, no, as they say, everyone can enter, and they prevent any conflicts. Rimuru and Izuku, understood. Kopta, although I got hit when. He was interrupted by Rimuru. Rimuru, ha ha ha, the food is ready. Rimuru and Izuku, I'm sure Kopta meant some kind of warning. They thought humorously. Izuku watched as Ranga and the wolves slept peacefully. Izuku, I'm glad they're calm, in a way, it gives me peace. He thought, and then felt some weight on top of him. Huh? Rimuru, time to sleep. She said and fell asleep in an instant. Izuku, I forgot that I agreed to this. He thought humorously. I'm glad everyone is okay. He whispered but was heard by Rimuru. If she weren't a slime, she'd be smiling. After that, Rimuru continued sleeping. A few hours later. Izuku was looking at the stars. Izuku, I wonder how everyone is doing? I hope they're well. He thought, but then noticed something, looked around for a moment, and saw something shining. What could that be? Izuku gently picked up Rimuru to place her on top of Ranga, and then he went to see what it was. When he arrived, he saw nothing. Izuku, I think I saw it wrong. He said and was about to return when he fell into a hole. He said with his neutral face. Izuku landed in a place with many shining objects. Izuku, what are these? Master, they are minerals. Izuku, Jarvis, are they valuable? Master, they are very hard to come by and very expensive. Izuku. Wow, they are that valuable? He said as he noticed there were many of them in this place. Even though this place is small, it has many valuable minerals, so. He said and began collecting the materials and also multiplying them to have even more. I'm going to have a long night. He said as he looked at what was left. I won't leave a single one. In the morning. We see everyone waking up and getting ready to continue, but then. Rimuru, wait a minute, I was on top of Izuku, sleeping. Ranga, I was going to ask that too, Rimuru-sama. Everyone, where is Izuku? But then they hear someone and look in that direction, noticing it was Izuku, but he looked dirty and sweaty, although he didn't seem tired. Izuku, I'm not tired, but my human body sweats like one. Even though I was up all night, I'm neither tired nor sleepy. Furthermore, I can stay in this form for a longer time. My mana increased, not excessively, but enough for this. It's incredible. Rimuru, Izuku, are you okay? Ranga/wolf/goblin, Izuku-sama. Izuku, relax, I'm fine. Rimuru, but why are you sweaty and dirty? Izuku, well, I was doing some things. Rimuru, can you tell us what you were doing? Ranga, yes, of course, if you can, Izuku-sama. Izuku, I just found a place, and look. He said and showed them some things that surprised them. Ranga, you're amazing, Izuku-sama. Kopta, yeah, you're great. Izuku, it's not that big of a deal. Rimuru, impressive, it looks a bit like what I found. Izuku, what do you mean? Rimuru, I forgot to tell you that I was inside a cave, and there were some strange minerals. I kept them because I thought they might be valuable. Izuku, wow, that's good. As they say, it's better to have more than less. He said, giving Rimuru some affectionate pats. Rimuru, hee hee hee. Izuku, well, let's continue. He said, and everyone agreed. A few hours later. We see everyone on a hill, looking at a city in the distance. Kopta, we've arrived. Izuku and Rimuru, finally, we've arrived.